So I'm going to give you a theory.
Okay.
This is not a thus saith the Lord.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Talk to it.
I actually believe that the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, God would have allowed us to eat of its fruit at some point. But we would only have been able to eat of its fruit when we fully knew who God was, and we didn't know who God was yet.
Okay.
So God's plan from the beginning was for us to know him. That's what he wants. So,
And to no choice.
well, you have to have choice to know him.
Right.
But we preemptively decided we would eat of that tree before we were ready for it.
Okay. Okay.
The implications of that tree, and we're still learning about that tree.
Sure.
And we're still shocked by it, which to tell
Sure.
you that we don't really understand all of the implications of the tree of knowledge of good and evil is, you can understand that when you look at how we're still surprised by the fruit of that tree. You know, we're still shocked by it. We're still shocked by tragedy and hardship and terrible things, which tells you that we don't understand it. We didn't understand it yet.
Yeah,
we didn't
that
understand.
makes sense.
So God, as stewardship is concerned, God was going to withhold that tree from us until we were ready to understand it. And you couldn't have understood that tree until you fully understand Jesus.
God first.
You have to understand Christ in particular, because Christ is the ultimate revelation of God. So think about it like this. So we're going through right now school on understanding the depth and the horror of sin and choice. But at the same time, parallel with that, wheat and the tare principle, is that we're getting to see the beauty of Christ in the midst of. So if you look at what Jesus did, think about how bloody, brutal, tragic, and horrifying the cross is.
Sure.
That's a demonstration of how awful sin is.
Sure.
At the same time, when you look at the resurrection and the love and the grace that Christ gives us, you're getting to see the offset of that. In a greater way, because Christ is greater than sin and death.
Sure.
You're seeing the beauty of Christ. And so we didn't know the beauty of Christ in the garden. All we knew was a tree that we thought we wanted.
Right.
We didn't know how much more wonderful Christ is. We won't have the fulfillment and the finish of our knowledge of what the implications of sin and rebelling against God, the fullness of that, we won't know fully till we're in the presence of God.
Sure.
But one day we will. So that's the reason why when people say, well, when I get to heaven, can I not make that mistake? Can I not screw things up? No, the fullness of your knowledge will be full. See, Adam and Eve would have never participated in that tree had they known all of human history of how horrible and the depth of horror that tree would have brought. They would never. So we're still in the classroom. Also, at the same time, they wouldn't have known the beauty and the wonderment and the goodness of God. It's only on the background of horrible tragedy that you get to understand the depth of God's love and how amazing Christ is, the sacrifice of Jesus. So the real issue that our knowledge was incomplete. I believe at one of these days, we will be with the Lord, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil will be there, and no one's going to go to it. No one. That tree is not absent.
Sure.
Choice is not absent in heaven, but we will already have the fullness. The Bible says it doth not yet appear what we shall be, but when he shall appear, we will be like him, for we will see him as he is. That what that means is that the understanding of who Christ is, which this is a pursuit for our whole life, constantly trying to grow in our understanding of Christ. But one of these days we'll fully know Jesus for who he is. And the Bible says at that moment, when you see him face to face, that's when your knowledge will be complete of who he is.
Sure.
You will be like him. Christ was sinless.
Yeah.
Christ, though tempted, did not sin, did not fail. The Bible says we'll be like him. So in heaven, we're going to be like him.